Hey everybody, what am I doing right now? What's up everyone? Welcome back to Buzztober under the Bubbly Thoughts podcast. We're on day 10 right now. It has been a very long day, a very long work day. I look like shit, but that's okay, we're gonna power through. I know I usually mention where my shirt is from. This is like not that exciting. This was from a half marathon I did back in 2021, I think. So that's where this is from. God, I need like more energy. Anyway, so what we are drinking tonight is once again a ranch water. I just felt in the mood for it. And the sparkling water of choice that goes in it is liquid death. My favorite kind of death is the liquid kind. That was a weird thing to say. Not sure why I said that. Let's take a sip, shall we? Once again, if you are under the age of 21, do not drink, just don't do it. I don't condone breaking the fucking law. So today what we're gonna do is, I found a thread that's just glitch in the matrix stuff on Reddit. So some of them are short, some of them are long, I guess. I don't know. I'm gonna read however many I feel like. Okay. Not doing great with the whole talking thing today, but that's fine. In case you didn't watch the last episode, glitch in the matrix is basically something that interrupts like the flow of time with no rhyme or reason to it. I know there's gotta be a better explanation out there, but I don't feel like looking it up. So feel free to do that as homework on your own time if you want to. But essentially it's like something you just can't explain. It's like if there are multiple universes, which I don't know, I think there probably are. I feel like that makes a lot of sense in so many ways. Then sometimes there's a crossover in the universe or something that happens in one universe that you feel like is happening in the current universe and it's not. So that just made it so much more confusing. Just ignore it. Google it. Google it. That's the right answer. Okay, so the first story that we're going to read for this Glitch in the Matrix episode, I might do another one too. I just find these so freaking fascinating and scary. So hopefully these are scary. Because I haven't read them yet. So, okay, this one is entitled, ooh, okay, I think this is a good one. It's not too long either. There's no title for this. This was actually like someone set up a thread, so like a topic, and all these people commented on the thread versus inputted their own stories in its own thread. I don't really know how all of this works. I like love Reddit, but I also don't have time to like figure out how it all goes down. But okay, so here's what I'll do. Here's how to explain it. So someone put in like Reddit, tell me your glitch in the matrix stories, and a bunch of people commented. The first story is written in by Sarah X11. Like I said, there's no title because this was just a comment on a post. This will probably get buried. When I was around 20 a few years ago, I kept having dreams about a woman with long black hair named Aurora. They were different dreams, but for some reason her distinct face and name always ended up in them. It got to the point where I would wake up frustrated and confused, trying to Google her name or find out how I was connected to her. After a few months, she stopped showing up and I dismissed it, thinking my brain was just being a scumbag. Fast forward a few years later, Halloween 2009, I'm in the car with a friend and we stopped at a gas station. I'm about to pull out and merge onto the highway when I get a phone call from a random number. So I stopped the car, but no one answered. There was a person behind me who grew impatient, honked at me, and then swerved in front of me instead of waiting for 2 seconds for me to move. Okay, I'm just gonna intervene here. Don't be an asshole driver. I drive all the time for work. There's a lot of buttheads out there. Stop being a butthead on the road. If you don't let people merge, there's a special place for you in hell. Let people merge. You are causing more problems if you don't let people merge. Just do it. Just let people merge. Just do it. Amongst other things, but that one really gets to me. I don't know why. Anyway, sorry, I digress. The second they get on the highway, some silver Civic loses control of their wheel and crashes into the car that swerved in front of me. I called the cops and waited at the gas station for them to come. Turns out the drivers of both cars died. Oh, bleak. It 100% would have been me if I hadn't have gotten that phone call. I called it back a few hours later out of gratitude and curiosity. It rang 3 times and went to voicemail. Oh shit, this is good. Hi, you've reached Aurora. Please leave your name and number. Never had goosebumps like that in my life. Called it again the next day because I was that confused about the whole situation. Some woman answers and we get to talking. I tell her my entire story, including the dreams I had. She tells me she doesn't know how I got her number and that she never called me as far as she remembers. Weird. Yeah, no shit. I asked her if she has a Facebook to confirm if she's in fact the woman in my dreams. Checked her Facebook. Holy fuck, it's her. If that's not a glitch in the matrix, then I'm just batshit crazy. I'm sorry, what? That is wild. If that's a true story, which you don't know because there's no way to prove it. Like, there's no way to prove something like that. That's like the craziest thing about the glitch in the matrix stuff. And again, if you listen to the last episode, I explained one time when it happened to me and it was nothing as juicy as that. Oh my God, that's a good story. And I am so freaked out. That's crazy. And I know there's somebody out there that's gonna be like, there's an explanation for this. And I'm gonna be like, okay, like I'll listen, but you're probably wrong. You're probably wrong. Let me read another comment here in the thread. Once again, this is like a tell me your glitch in the matrix. This is written in by Kill All Extremists. Ugh, it's a harsh name, but that's okay. I've related this story before, but here goes. The parallel universe answering machine. This happened about 15 years ago. I called my friend up and he wasn't home, so I left a message on his answering machine. I said, hey, it's person's name. Sorry, I missed you. Call you later. Bye. And then I hung up and left the house. I made no other calls. Later that day, he called me back and said, wow, that was quite a message you left. Who was that girl you were talking to? I was like, what are you talking about? I wasn't talking to any girl. Well, as it turns out, the message didn't end after I said bye. I had to go over to his house and listen to this message a few times. After my initial message that I did leave, as quoted above, there was a slight pause and it continues on for another 30 to 40 seconds or so with me talking to some girl. It was my voice, but a conversation I never had with a girl whose voice I didn't recognize. You could compare it to the message I know I did leave, and the two voices were indistinguishable. Not just the voice, but, talking mannerisms. It was my voice. Also references my occupation and activities, they were all the same. Basically in this conversation, I was talking to this girl about going skiing, but I had to go down to my shop and work on a car first, which totally correlated to me. Then the message just stopped. It was recorded on one of those digital answering machines that recorded the message to a chip, so there was no tape I could have taken and had analyzed, unfortunately. Also, neither I nor my friend had party lines, so that's not an explanation. It was very freaky. I can't explain it. Holy fuck. I'm assuming this person might be from a country different than mine because some of the wording was different than wording I've used before. Maybe you're not, maybe I could be wrong. Party lines, is that like, what's the word for that? I'm like brain dead today. What's that called where you like add someone on your call? Whatever, you know what the fuck I'm talking about. Is that what they're referring to? So if they're saying they don't have party lines, that means that there's no way someone else could have been on that call or interfered with the call. Like it had to have been this OP here. Holy cow. That's crazy. Like how do you explain that one? This guy is talking to this person that doesn't exist? Like, riddle me that. Riddle me that. Okay, so the next story is written in by user Mark of Shame. Driving home on a stormy day, I see that a side road up to the local golf course is blocked off by flashing barricades. I also spy a Mercedes parked past the barricades with its hazards on. I stop and walk up to the car to see if they need help. I'm an EMT. I shine my lights in the back seat to see a man slumped over, apparently asleep. Thinking I've got a few drunks, I move up to the driver window and rap on the glass and shine my light in. The driver is sitting bolt upright, unmoving, staring straight ahead. My window wrapping or light doesn't cause him to blink, flinch, or move. I look over and the passenger is slumped forward onto the dash. This begins to creep me out. I call down to the sheriff's station and request a code 2, which is no light sirens. While on the phone, I walk back to my truck to get my go bag. As I'm on the phone with dispatch, she asks me to get a license number for the car just as a PG&E cherry picker truck comes rumbling down from the closed road. PG&E, they put it in parentheses, it's a power company. So a power company truck comes barreling down the road from up the closed road. I moved to go around the truck to get the plate number, and the car is gone. I talked to the driver of the truck, and he said there was a 80-foot tree down across the road, and that he didn't think it'd be open for a day or so. So the question is, where the hell did the car go? Tree up one way, barricades down the other. It's kept me a bit unsettled when stopping at accidents and hazards since then. That is terrifying. Because again, how do you explain that? Like, what the hell was that? Oh my God, that's so weird. I'm moving on from that one. Okay, this doesn't sound like a car one, so let's try this one. That's next. This one's written in by user KLSI832. This happened to me in 3rd grade, and it scared me so much I started crying and had to go to the office to talk to the principal about it. I was in the hallway for misbehaving, and my neighbor, Tad, a year younger than me, came walking out of a class to my right, passed in front of me, and headed down some stairs. We said hi to each other. About 20 seconds later, he walked out of the same class, passed in front of me, and headed down the stairs. I just stared at him, confused and afraid, and he looked back like, why the F are you looking at me like that? I never realized how much it was like a glitch in the Matrix kind of deja vu moment. And then there's an edit. I thought of a second example of this, and as long as this thread is so popular, I may as well share it. A few years after this incident, my sister and I were hanging in the living room watching TV. We both saw our mom walk through the other room and through the adjacent hall. Maybe 20 minutes later, she came in from the backyard. My sister and I looked at each other confused and asked her how she got back inside. She didn't know what we were talking about. She had been outside for hours. No one else was home. Oh my fucking God, that scares me. That terrifies me. I've never had that happen before, and I hope it never happens to me, because that for some reason really gets to me, and I don't know why. It makes me kind of think of, you know, when like oh my God, sorry, I just freaked out. I'm like sometimes I freak myself out with reading these stories, especially the glitch in the Matrix ones. I like can't explain it. They're so freaky to me. I saw this weird like reflection in the window and it's nothing. I'm just a freak. Okay, yeah, I mean, if I saw someone's if I saw someone like walking through a room, going to another room, and then they were in a totally different location, I don't even know. That's just terrifying to me. That one really freaked me out. Okay, so the next story is written in by Parrot Tamer. Okay, you must tame parrots. I hate myself so much today. Okay, so this next story, it says deleted as the name of the user. Again, I'm not like super privy to Reddit. I'm not super privy to Reddit, so I don't know if that means, oh, it probably means the account was deleted. Okay, that's fine, because it's right next to where the account name should be. So it's probably an account that was deleted. The more you know. This one starts at a friend's place back in 2008. When we were all teenagers, we had a cool shed at a friend's that we'd hang out in every weekend. It had 4 sets of bunk beds, tables, a fireplace, TV, fridge, etc., the whole lot. One night we were all hanging out in there, and I decided I needed to piss. I walked out the front door of the shed and started to walk to the right when I stopped. Now let me explain the layout here. As you walk out of the shed, his house is to the left, and to the right is where we all parked our cars. Further out, you're left with empty fields and trees. That sounds terrifying already. That's like the making of a horror movie. It was dark by now. The lights from the house illuminating the space between the house and our cars, but trailing off just past them. As I took a step to the right, intending to go behind the cars to relieve myself, I saw my friend's older brother standing there. I watched him for a good 5 to 10 seconds as he stood there, facing into the darkness. He then proceeded to walk behind a couple of trees and a car before he disappeared. Confused, I walked back into the shed and asked my friend what his brother was doing by the cars. The conversation went as follows. Me: "Hey man, what's your brother doing by the cars?" Him: "What do you mean?" Me: "He just walked off behind the cars." Brother: "I'm right here." That made me so scared. I looked over and there his brother was, sitting down on one of the chairs with a drink. He was wearing the exact same clothes I saw him in, and the only way to get into the shed was through the door I was standing in front of. To this day, I have no idea how it all happened. I'm guessing I was just seeing things, but the fact that I watched him walk around for a good 10 seconds always has puzzled me. I've never had anything else like that happen. I hate that story. Terrifying. Bloody terrifying. Okay, this next one is also written in by an account that's now deleted, I believe, assuming that's what it is. Honestly, I don't fucking know. I used to work in a building that had 3 levels of sub-basements, with the piece of lab equipment I typically worked on in the lowest basement. I had the only key. There was a wired phone in there, and I did work late some nights, but not this night. I was sleeping alone in my apartment when I woke up to a call on my cell phone from my girlfriend at 3 a.m. She was in hysterics and asking why I scared her. Apparently, she received a call from the basement phone just a minute earlier, with someone who sounded like me slowly repeating her name until crackling and fading out. I hate this. My apartment was 10 miles away from work. I thought she was lying, but I saw the 3 a.m. call from the basement phone, logged on her cell myself. Still freaks me the fuck out. I hate that. I fucking hate that. I have like a whole issue right now with like phone calls, like different story for a different day. So I just have not been loving when the phone rings, period, lately, but that would fuck my shit up. I don't know if I could sleep ever again after something like that happening. Okay, these have been pretty short so far, so I think I want to keep going. If you're like over this, you're welcome to tune out of this episode, but I kind of want to keep going. I'm like really into this right now. This next one is written in by American Slang 59. I used to work in music and toured with this band. The guitarist, named Josh, of the band's best friend, named Matt, had died a couple years back. He always talked about the kid and he seemed like a great guy. Josh always had this reoccurring dream where Matt was standing on this abandoned street, which supposedly was metaphorical for purgatory. Josh had all these conversations with Matt in these dreams, and because he had overdosed unexpectedly, he felt like his spirit was not able to move on. At the end of the dreams, Matt would take a bulb from the streetlight on the street they were standing in the middle of. Josh described these dreams in extreme detail, and I could pretty much picture what the street looked like. Fast forward to about 6 months into touring with these guys. They were huge Bright Eyes fans and wanted to stop in Cassadaga, Florida. Oh, I've been there. Oh, that's so cool. I live in Florida. Cassadaga, oh my gosh, it's so cool. It's like, if you don't know, it's like this really cool little town that's full of like psychics and supposedly like witchcraft, and like it's just kind of like spooky without being scary. I don't think it's scary. I just think it's like spiritual, if you will. It's really cool. I did actually go see like a random psychic there. Oddly enough, something they said came true. I don't really want to talk about it. Bright Eyes Singer wrote an album there, and it was a really creepy spiritual medium place. It might be worth noting that 6 of the 7 people I was with are all atheists. So we drove into Cassadaga around 2 or 3 a.m. and we just drove around. Suddenly, this big black dog comes in the middle of the road and just stops and looks at us. Hellhound. That was my first thought. The guys in the band were weird as fuck and were saying things like, "Follow the dog, it's trying to show us something." And in my mind, I'm just thinking they're all fucking idiots. We followed this dog for a few blocks as it was walking pretty slowly. All of a sudden, we turn a street and the dog bolts. We try to speed up, but Josh says, "Stop the fucking van, this is it." We are all confused and he gets out of the van and looks around. This is it. This is the street in my dreams. We hung out for about 15 minutes, and from the way he described the street, from having houses on the left to a park on the right, it was definitely the street. As we get in the van, a streetlight goes off and we just drove off. He claims he never had any more dreams about it, as that was closure on everything. I'm not trying to dismiss this person's story. That I feel like I can kind of like logically, it's not my dream, so like it very much could have been the place that he dreamt. Why can I not do English very well today? This is so embarrassing. I'm not trying to like dismiss his dream, because I don't know, I didn't dream it. I don't know. Okay, here's another one. This one was written in by user Counterstrike. This happened to be in middle school. The entire 8th grade class had to do this thing called a cultural fair, where we research our lineage and cultural roots and present it after school at night for all families to see. Me and a buddy are cruising the halls. And out of boredom, before the whole thing starts, and for some stupid reason, I bet him $10 I can open any locker, and he gets to choose which one. He takes my bet and picks a random locker. The hallway was empty, by the way. He jiggles the handle and spins the dial a few times to make sure it's locked. I remember, it was locker number 424. So I look at him and go, psh, watch this. I spin it 6 right, 24 left, 34 right. I remember thinking, those numbers sound right in my head. The latch lifts up and it swings open. Interesting. As I've said in a previous episode, my coworker, who's like also one of my best friends now, she always says like, we're all animals at the end of the day, trust your instincts. So I guess this person did that. This is written in by Musical Moses. 10 years ago, I was returning home from a road trip with 2 friends. Oh God, another car one. Great. I received a phone call from my parents asking when we would be arriving, and I explained that we were about 25 minutes away. About a minute later, we came around a bend. It was a full moon and we could see the reflection from the lake below us, and other than that, the road was completely empty. Suddenly, everything went completely dark in the car. No lights from the dash, or gauges, or headlights on the road. The music also stopped, and restarted at the beginning of the CD we were listening to. There was now a vehicle pulled over by the police about a quarter of a mile in front of us that hadn't been there a split second before. I assumed I had dozed off for a second or whatever because it was late. I still, though, thought it was quite peculiar. After about a minute, the driver of the car turned the music all the way down and said, "Did that just happen to anyone else?" The other passenger in the back seat sat forward abruptly and exclaimed, "I thought I just fell asleep," when we realized that the clock in the car was reading an hour later than it had been a minute before. To keep ourselves from freaking out, we decided that the car had possibly had a momentary electrical failure and reset the clock to an odd time, turned off the dash lights, headlights, and gauges, and restarted the CD player. But when we arrived home 25 minutes later, we were 1 hour late. I am missing an hour of my life, and to this day have no idea how it happened. What? Oh, I hate that. I hate that. Also, like, time is so short. Life is so short. I would hate to, like, miss another hour at this point. My God, give me, like, that hour back if it's taken from me. I wonder if that's how they feel. That's crazy. I mean, I like that they tried to, like, logically figure it out. Like, they were like, oh, the car reset or something. But sure enough, they were an hour late getting home. Like, how do you explain that? Like, what? What? Oh my God, that freaks me the fuck out so bad. Okay, this next one is written in by another deleted account, so I don't know who the user is. I'm sorry, user, if you're hearing this, thank you so much. They're not gonna hear this. Who the fuck am I talking to right now? When I was a teenager, I had 2 really intense dreams one night. The first one was about an online friend of mine calling me to say she'd broken up with her boyfriend. And I sang a few lines of Seal's "Don't Cry" to her over the phone. The second dream was finding a real-life friend, dead body floating in her bathtub. Oh, okay, scary. I didn't think anything of it up until I logged online that evening, and the online friend came online to tell me her boyfriend broke up with her. I immediately asked if I could call her, and she said no. I remember thinking that it meant something, like I could change it. Not long after, my phone rang, and it was a real-life friend from the dream calling me. The real-life friend. I misspoke. I apologize. I was completely freaked out at this point, but talked to her normally. She was just talking about school and shit, up until I realized I heard a splash in the background. I asked her, "Are you in the bathtub?" And when she said yes, I felt like my heart had stopped. I asked her, "What did you do?" She didn't answer me right away. And then after a very long pause, she told me she had taken an entire bottle of pills and chased it down with mushrooms and vodka. She'd gotten scared waiting for it to hit her, so she called me so she could hear someone's voice. I hung up and called 911. By the time they got there, she was unconscious but alive. Today, she's a mom to a beautiful little girl, and she's okay. Wow. Holy cow. That one was sad, sorry. Trigger warnings all around. I mean, all of these episodes are honestly trigger warnings. Holy cow. But this person saved a friend's life. That's crazy. I don't know if anybody else has ever had this happen to them before, but I have a few solid stories of dreams that have come true before. One is so weird and I just don't get it. Some of the other ones I don't really want to talk about, but this one, okay, so I used to work in this random job right out of college, doesn't matter. And it just so happens that the building that my job was in, there was a bunch of other offices there as well. So it wasn't just like my coworkers, it was like a bunch of people working for other companies renting out office space in the same building. So we all shared a break room. So like half the time I was in the break room, I saw people I didn't work with, didn't know their names, didn't know anything about them. Like sometimes I would just be polite and just say like, hi, good morning, or whatever. But I never got to know any of them because like it was brief. It was always like one would be getting a cup of coffee or I'd be getting a cup of coffee. The other one would just be coming in to drop off their lunch in the fridge. Who knows? This one time, okay, there was a specific person that I used to see every single day when I walked into the break room, and they were blonde, like platinum blonde, right? And I saw them every morning. We must have just arrived at the same time, like pretty normal. Everybody got to work at the same time. It wasn't like a weird hour. It was like 9 a.m., whatever. And again, I don't know this person's name. I don't know anything about them. Like I never overheard a conversation from them or anything, like nothing. The only interaction I ever had with them was just good morning or hi, how's it going? And that's it. Okay, that night, oddly, or one night, randomly, I had a dream that the coworker dyed their hair black. And I was like, that's so weird. Like I woke up the next day and I was like, why the hell was I dreaming about this random person whose name I don't even know? And I go into work that day and I fuck you not. The person, I remember the fridge door was open and I went to go get a cup of coffee from the coffee machine. They closed the fridge and their hair was dyed jet black. I still get shivers when I think about that one. I remember my reaction too, like I'm very expressive as you can probably see, and I couldn't hide my face. I was like, the fuck? I didn't say that. It was at work. But so I went like white as a ghost. I know I did because it really freaked me out. And the woman just looked at me and she was like, good morning. And I was like, oh, good morning. And I think about it all the time. Why the fuck did I dream that about this woman? I swear to God, I have no idea why I dreamt that, but it's so weird when dreams come true. I like kind of hate it. Oh, yeah, just weird. So anyway, I can relate to like the whole dream thing. And again, you can't prove that because you can't like go inside my brain and figure out what I dreamt and didn't dream. That's why this shit is so terrifying. This one's written in by Core M. I have a sleep tracking app on my phone, and it has a setting for lucid dreaming. It will start saying you are dreaming repeatedly in a woman's voice with a bit of an echo. That is fucking terrifying. I do not like that one bit. I was at work one day when I started hearing the voice randomly every few minutes or so. I checked my phone, and as soon as the screen turned, I woke up in my bed as the sun was rising. A bit freaked out, I went to take a shower. Then on my way to work, I started to hear the voice again through the radio. When I turned my car off, a bit freaked out again, I once more woke up in my bed as the sun was rising. This happened about 3 or 4 more times, all at different times of the day. I didn't trust reality for about a week after that and still refused to use that particular setting of the app. Holy cow. I feel like, wait, I'm so confused. Okay, so the first time it happened, they were at work and they started randomly hearing the voice every few minutes. Okay, like in their head. At first I was confused because I was like, okay, the app was going off, that's not that big of a deal. But I guess like this, oh my God, that's crazy. Crazy. Okay, my computer is about to die, so I'm gonna try to find one more. Okay, this one's a little bit longer, so I'll try to go through this. It's not long though. This was written in by user Wayfarer. This happened back in college. I was driving home from my cabin in northern Wisconsin through the Indian reservation. There was a man on the side of the road sort of limping along, and I pulled over and asked if he was okay. He said yes, he was fine. He just needed to get home because his wife decided she still loved him. Okay, was not expecting that. Okay. They'd had a fight. I asked the man where home was, and surprisingly it was the same city I went to college, about 2 hours away. I offered him a ride. He didn't talk much, he was tired, and when we got into town, he started giving me directions. Just down here, it's close, he said. Take a left at the lights. Okay, I said. Right here, he said, pointing, after the white truck. Here? I pulled into the driveway. Yes. Shut up, I said. What? He asked. He was grinning like he knew what I was going to say next. I used to live here, I told him. You don't say. Yes, upstairs, apartment number 3. Yeah, that's ours. Now he was smiling ear to ear. Small world, he said. He thanked me for the ride and got out of my car and walked through the front door of my old apartment building. I know it was just a coincidence, but it was one of the strangest moments of my life. I hate that. I hate that. First off, let me tell you, don't pick up someone on the side of the road. With the world that we live in now, do not put yourself in a situation where you are vulnerable and have a stranger in your car. I already hate having I don't hate having people in my car. I don't know how to explain it. I get the car, everything with a car freaks me out. Like I am convinced in another life I died in like a serious car accident or something like that because I am terrified of being in the car. I'm not scared of planes. I'm not scared of really anything like that, but I am terrified of being in the car. I hate it. And I have to drive all the time for work, so I just suck it up and like distract my brain like I do with most things. That's fine. It's how you deal with depression. Anyway, okay, so I don't know, I think that's pretty spooky. Like, what are the chances that this person on the side of the road, and the fact that they smiled knowing what they were gonna say next, that freaks me out. Anyway, thanks you guys so much for tuning in to day 10 of Buzztober. Is that what we're on? I think it's day 10. What the fuck? I can't count. I can't keep track of anything at all. Money, my life, my feelings, everything. Can't keep track of any of this shit. But I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you tune in tomorrow for episode 11. Fun fact, my 2 favorite numbers are 11 and 13. I love the number 13. It's so spooky and fun. And yeah, so make sure to tune in the rest of this month, every day during the month of October for Buzztober, where I upload a new scary story every single day to YouTube, as well as where all podcasts can be uploaded, like Spotify and the podcast app on Apple and a bunch of other ones or whatever. I just recommend the Apple Podcast app or Spotify. Don't make life too complicated, you guys. So anyway, please, if you enjoy these videos, make sure to like and subscribe, as well as click that notification bell so you can get notifications every single time I upload a new video. So until tomorrow, cheers to you, stay spooky, and stay, what is it? I forgot my outro. Stay buzzed. Jesus. Okay, Melissa, you're fine. Stay buzzed and stay spooky, my friends. I'll see you tomorrow. Adios.